Hello YouTube, this is Oliver G from the Earful Tower. We're about to take a walk through the Butte Aux Cailles neighborhood of the 13th arrondissement. So the visuals, Butte Aux Cailles, beautiful little kind of mini Montmartre in the south of Paris. As for the audio, you're going to hear me and my wife Lina talking about our 24-hour stay in the 13th arrondissement. This is from the Earful Tower podcast, and it's from the countdown season where we went and spent a day in each of the districts. This whole YouTube season has been brought to you by the LivTours team. They do tours, walking tours, private tours, semi-private tours all around Europe, and I asked them for their top recommendation in the 13th arrondissement. Here's what they said. This quartier is bordered by the Seine River, and while the heart of it has lovely mini villages, artist communes, and other delightful corners, we recommend you drop by the Peniche moored on the Seine, so the little boats. Many of them, some of them are big boats, many of them have been turned into cool bars, cafes, and concert halls. There's even one with a lighthouse on top that's just reopened. This is an off-the-radar spot full of locals, and if it wets your whistle for more time on the river, be sure to join us for a tour and cruise. So I'll just add, I was at that lighthouse bar recently. It's really cool. There are a lot of cool bars down there. Not many tourists. You'll feel like you're really, you'll feel like you're becoming a Parisian if you go and hang around down there. Highly recommended. Thanks again to LivTours for sponsoring this season. You can find in the description below links to them and to their cruises of the Seine River. Let's keep walking around the 13th arrondissement and let's start the podcast episode. Everybody told me this can't be done, the 13th.
What can't be done?
This can't be done.
And who said?
Everybody.
Oh.
Because, not just because it's an unlucky number,
Of course.
but because it's probably the least touristy destination of all the districts in Paris. And people would be forgiven for thinking there's nothing to find. But we have found heaps of cool stuff.
We got some gems.
Surprising stuff.
Some hidden gems.
Mostly hidden gems.
Some big hidden gems.
Yeah, wow, yeah. So we're going to take you guys on a wonderful journey, and it starts, instead of telling you where it starts, we're going to play this week's music, which is another interpretation by Press Maxon. And if you know what the song is, you might get an idea of where we spent a lot of time in the 13th. Hit the music.
Hit it.
People at home nudging each other, even if they're sitting by themselves, going, I know it. That song is La Mer.
La Mer.
By Charles Trenet.
That's right.
No, not The Mother, The Sea. There's a good, that song, the lyrics, if you speak, if you're not fluent in French like us, we speak good French, but we're not fluent. If you listen to the lyrics, he's describing the sea, and then he starts talking about sheep in the sea.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's
Les
confusing.
moutons or something. And I didn't remember the first time. I was trying to figure it out. I was like, why is she talking about the sheep?
Seal? What could it be?
But it means the sort of tips of the waves called sheep.
Yeah, what do you say in English?
Tips of the waves.
Tips
I
of
don't
the
know.
waves?
You don't call them sheep anyway. But that was Press Maxon. We've been getting a lot of emails about how much people are enjoying the music. Someone, Sally in Australia, said she'd buy it. The collection.
Nice.
So Press, make a CD and make some money.
Yes.
But the reason that we chose that song is because we started our visit to the 13th on as close as the sea as you can get. A boat in the river, which was our hotel. Now, I want to just flash back. When we started this season, part of the reason we wanted to stay in hotels was to really get the feel for every arrondissement, to wake up,
Exactly.
to go
and
to sleep
to be able
there.
to pop in and out of your home in a way.
Yeah. And on top of that, I wanted the hotels to be I wanted them to come with a story. We figured at the beginning there's no point staying in a Holiday Inn and going, yeah, that was a good place to sleep. We wanted to come with a story. And when we were planning the whole season, this is one of the ones I wanted to stay in. It's called the Off Paris Seine. The Off Paris Seine. And they put off in capitals for some reason.
Yeah.
And hold on to your horses, everybody. What's cool about this is it's a boat that's a hotel And in the middle of the hotel is an open-air swimming pool.
And in the middle of the swimming pool,
There's a bottle of water.
Hotel. No.
A bottle of water with one of those ships. So this was cool. We, full disclosure, we stayed here during the insane heat wave from about
a couple of years ago.
5 years ago. Because we were living under the tin roof on the top floor.
And it was
in Montmartre.
extremely hot, and the air was just still. So we had to.
You as a Swede, you panicked.
I know, I panicked.
Did you?
I just couldn't. I couldn't move.
Did you get that hotel because it had air conditioning or a pool? Do you remember?
Pool.
Yeah.
I got it because
so we got the cheapest room back then, and we stayed like in the hull, and it was all right. I mean,
no, it was good. It was cool.
The pool was perfect.
Yeah.
But like, if you want the full experience, what we did this time around was we got the orange room.
Yeah.
A room totally decked out in orange. Really fun. Cool to sleep on a boat. Like a small, not like a cruise liner. But
And it was a
smaller
nice view over the Seine, and it was cool. Good experience. Bit rocky at night.
It felt like someone was. It felt
like someone was.
You felt like someone walked in the room, kicked the bed really hard.
Yeah, that was me.
But the 13th, I think I just wanted to get that sort of boat experience out of the way because it went with the lovely music by Press. Thanks, Press. But the 13th, let's just talk about it for a little bit. When locals think of the 13th, I think they think of Chinatown.
Yeah.
Residential.
Yeah. Butte Aux Cailles.
Butte Aux Cailles, which we'll talk about more in a second. But in terms of solid tourist destinations, I don't think there is one.
No, it's more residential. It is residential.
Yeah, and we sort of explored that in a weird way we're going to get to in a second. But instead of telling you everything we did, everything will be in the blog. We're going to focus on some of the things that we found the most interesting.
Some highlights.
Including one thing that I think everybody should make a beeline for when they're in Paris. That deserves a spot in the Louvre, and I can't believe it's not there.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
We'll get to that at the end. So after we checked in, we figured we'd do the main thing in the 13th, which is what you just mentioned, the Butte Aux Cailles.
Which is like a mini Montmartre. It's very similar sort of style and a similar sort of lots of little restaurants and bars and bistros and that sort of thing, but about like 4 streets worth.
Yeah.
It's not big.
You can sort of explore the main part of it really quickly.
Definitely.
We did. And the photographer, Emily Jackson, this week, came with us for this bit, so we got some nice pictures, so you can really imagine it. They'll be on the blog and social media. But it is small. It's and it's not hilly like in Montmartre.
No.
But it's got that same kind
but
of...
But it's high up, isn't it? It feels like it's high up.
Well, it's a boot, yeah, I guess. But it doesn't... Yeah, it's like a 20th of the size of Montmartre without all the famous touristy things.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like if it's your first visit there, you might not even know you're there.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Is this a riddle?
No, because it's so small and there's only a couple of streets. Perfect example, when we took a taxi to get there, and we didn't know where to tell the taxi driver to go. And we were just like in Butte Aux Cailles, and he's like, where?
We were like, I don't know,
Yeah.
main bit. He's like, I don't. Oh, okay.
So I guess essentially just head up. And what's cool about it is there's a lot of street art. It's a sort of hub of street art that's changing
way
a lot.
more than I thought.
And worth a walk. A few cherry blossom trees around if you can time it right, which we were fortunate to do. But in terms of places to eat or drink, they all look good. There was one that we happened to stop off Les Tanneurs de la Butte. I'll write the address in the show notes, but it was. I imagine it was as good as all the other ones. It was charming. It was lovely, but
it was very classic French bistro style.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Anyway, Butte Aux Cailles, go and check it out.
Cailles.
There's one other thing that I don't want to get too deep into in this podcast. A small obsession is trickling through my brain, and it's this Bièvre. Take yourself back. Hundreds of years ago, there used to be another river, a tributary.
A tributary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tributary
Tributary.
that ran through the 13th. That's the only district it went through, and it used to be like the Tanneurs used to sort of use the water from it, and I don't think it was nothing like the Seine. It was more like a stream, as I can understand. There's pictures of it from 100 whatever years ago.
Okay.
And it's completely disappeared. It's underground, but there's talk of...
Is it still running underground?
I think so, yeah. There's talk of bringing it back, maybe getting rid of some streets, opening it up a little bit, And,
wow, that'd be cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of traces of it. There's the medallions that you could find. We found a couple of them.
Yeah.
There are a lot of streets and parks are named after the Bièvre. But I was fascinated by it. After our photo shoot, we put Otis to bed. Thanks, Julian, for babysitting.
Thank you.
And we decided to explore Chinatown. You'd never been there before.
No, but I've heard rumors of this
Had
magical
you
place.
Actually heard rumors about it?
Well, I have in terms of, when it's just a few times when I've been out of town and people, our friend group, have been like, let's go to Chinatown.
Right.
And I was never there for it, so I'm like, what is this place?
I feel like in the Paris circles and conversations I've been in all my years there, I haven't heard much talk like that. Ever.
No, I mean, no, it's not. It's not
I have
major.
I've been there maybe twice or something.
Yeah.
To
Well,
see what the fuss
you've
is
seen
about.
it.
Yeah.
I hadn't.
Yeah. Okay. But that's what this whole season's about. We wanted to go out there and check it out, and when we got there, we didn't even know where to begin.
So same again. We're like, take us to Chinatown.
Yeah, because this time we took cabs twice because when you stay on the river, it means you're on the very edge of the arrondissement.
And we needed to make the most out of our time as well.
Time was short.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just got dropped off in the middle, and I'm interested in your reaction to being in the middle of those skyscrapers.
Yeah, it just didn't. It felt like New York.
They're
like parts of New
enormous.
York. Yeah.
Like
Huge. I didn't know they existed
they
in
must
Paris.
have been like 30, 40 floors high, and
At least.
and it felt like dozens of them.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody associates Paris with that.
No.
At all.
No,
It'd be
not
cool to
at
get
all.
to the top of one of those to see what
Oh,
the view
for
is
sure.
like.
Imagine the view. So nice.
But it was a sort of disorienting experience. First, that all the shops were named in Chinese. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So you got these neon lights, Chinese characters, and then you look up and you get almost dizzy because of these massive, quite new skyscrapers. Felt like a whole different experience. We didn't know where to go. We had a few tips for places, but instead we sort of walked the streets and explored what looked fun.
Yeah, we asked a few people on the street. We were like, "Where's the bit? Like, where's the main bit?"
Yeah.
Main
What's
roads
popular?
and-
What's
yeah.
got a reputation? Several people point us towards the Impérial Choisy, the Imperial, which didn't. I mean, it was good, but it didn't.
No, it was definitely good enough, but it didn't look like anything special.
No.
And it was. I think it was quite a typical.
Exactly. I didn't leave there going, "Wow, that was the best Chinese food I've ever had."
Yeah,
It was just. It got the vibe.
very friendly, very quick, very. Like it's not a cozy vibe. It's very bright in there, but it was nice. Felt
That's
very
it,
genuine.
I think that's the third place that we've talked about the lighting.
I know,
That-
lighting is huge for me.
You know, because I've quoted off you.
Yeah,
I remember we
I think
said
so.
about the Edith Piaf place in Belleville and then the Coupole in the 14th. This is the lighting review of every restaurant in Paris. By the way, we got an email just came in. A comment even from Sarah. Sarah Caldwell Orellano. Could be Orellano, maybe. Double L. Who knows? She said, I just want to thank you for the Edith Piaf singing tip.
Okay.
It's starting to come back here. My daughter and I just returned from a fabulous night. All the people at our row of tables discovered the place on your podcast. German, US, and us from Switzerland. The place was packed. The owner said he could have sat many more. I'm sure it was because of you.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that.
We had a rip-roaring time.
A rip-roaring.
Yeah.
People don't use those words often enough.
Rip-roaring,
Rip-roaring.
yeah.
Sounds good, right?
Yeah. Rip-roaring.
Yeah, rip-roaring.
It makes you think, like, what are you doing? Ripping up the menu and then roaring? You know what it reminds me of? We met a woman called Sharon with a Y. And then we talked about it afterwards, Sharon with a Y. Does that mean her name is Sharon? Why?
Or why, Sharon?
I was like, my name's Oliver with a who.
Or who? Who?
Anyway, it's great that you guys are going to these restaurants. Impérial Choisy, why not? Go and check it out too. You know what? All these restaurant tips that we're doing makes me think that we need to have the sort of ultimate list at the end. The best of the
definitely.
best. Yeah. Or halfway through, we can do it twice. Anyway,
Yeah,
we got that vibe of Chinatown, and seemingly we're taking two cabs. We're like, we got to walk now, and that was where we really did a big exploratory walk.
Nighttime walk.
Yeah. This place is going to score bad on strollability for me.
Yeah, me too.
Because it wasn't
I'm sorry
like
to say.
Montmartre or the 14th,
No.
where you feel like you could go down any street and there'd be cool
It's
stuff.
very big, like massive roads and not much in between.
And it wasn't very charming.
Like a lot of offices and big blocks and that sort of thing.
But you know where the charm did hit?
Where did it hit?
When we walked all the way down to the Seine, where we were staying, but along that part of the Seine, moored on the 13th, are lots of boats with things happening. And even though we were there on a Monday night, we struck gold. We struck gold, baby.
Yes, we did. We tried. Do you remember first we tried to get on this? There's a specific boat that is all red and it's got
Bateau it's called.
That's right. It's got like a lighthouse on it and it's got a bar as well. So that's gimmick on a gimmick on a gimmick.
And it has a website that says open even when it's closed.
Yeah,
so
very good.
Third gimmick.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe that's their thing.
So we're thinking.
So we
to
were
go
like,
down
no, that was closed, and then we stumbled upon.
Yeah, we kept walking, and then it didn't even look like it was open, but there was this boat that said on the side, Bateau El Alamein. And I remembered that Forrest Collins, who was on the show...
The drink expert.
Yeah, Cocktail Queen of Paris. And this is like 4 years ago, she recommended this place. Her recommendations were so good. Everyone should follow her recommendations, because she recommended this. And we stumbled upon it. But what was the most fun bit of it was like we could hear music coming from inside. And not any old music, unusual music.
Unusual to say the least.
So we sort of boarded the thing.
Yeah, we're like, is it a private party or, what's going on? Didn't even really look like a boat, more like a greenhouse on the water.
Yeah, because they're turning similar to the 19th arrondissement.
That's right.
Yeah. And we went in.
It's a thing.
Yeah. So we went in and we went downstairs and the owners greeted us. And straight away we knew we liked it. And they said to us, you've come on the go-get tonight.
Yeah.
And I said, what's a go-get? And I said, hang on, stop. Let's record this. So here's the owner of it, Olivier Love, his name is, explaining, here's basically what he explained to us.
At first, I have to tell you, we have a lot of concerts ici and professional concert. But Monday, the day you came, we have the go-get. And so go-get is, as you said, amateur. And it's like a reunion of person which everyone participates. And you take a song you remove the parole, the lyrics. Yes, and you make your own lyrics.
Oh, so they're changing the lyrics to old songs down there.
Yeah. And you get it's an old tradition c'est les chansonniers. So you can talk about politics, injustice or justice, or your life and the color of your socks if you want. And first I knew that from people usually know the go-get because at every wedding there's the father of the bride who sings something personal on a music like I don't know. What is your favorite song?
I see, so they take their favorite song and change the lyrics maybe to be about the bride.
I first met those events at some marriage. And so we do this, and everybody participates. So there's big difference in terms of qualities, but there's no judgment, and it's about expressing yourself if you want to. And it's very chouette.
Chouette, it's nice. The people down there are clapping, so there must be a good show. I think we should go and check it out.
Get yourself in and make yourself home.
Thank you very much.
Je t'en prie, mec.
I could feel that you were itching to get up there on stage. If only you had a song prepared.
What was cool is that you don't have to be able to sing, and I don't think I can sing. But it's sort of like
you know what it felt like. It felt like being on a Swedish wedding where there are 1,000 of these things going on. Everyone's
more about the content of what you sing. Than
the actual performance.
Yeah. Someone did a song that was about, it was in the tune to a Celine Dion song, remember? And at the end of it, we both discussed what we thought it meant.
Oh, yeah.
And you thought it was about doing the shopping.
Yeah.
And I thought it was about going to Corsica. We still don't know. But the point is, I got a lot of emails of this season, people saying, do you think I can go here if I don't speak French? Almost always, yes, you can go as an English speaker. In fact, sometimes we even go as English speakers to restaurants
just to try
and hotels.
it out.
To be total tourists. The other thing I've got a few times people say, I don't drink alcohol or I don't eat meat. you almost always can be looked after. So remember that, guys. You can almost always be looked after. Same here. You had a Coca-Cola, I think.
Yeah?
Yep. But it was fun. It was different. It's like, don't trek out there to make it the first thing that you do in Paris.
No, but as a little unexpected thing, if you happen to stumble upon it, even better. Yeah, it was fun.
If you're in that part of town and you want to do something different in Paris and at the same time very French, go. I think it's Monday nights they do the amateur thing, Goguette.
Big plus if you speak French.
Oh, yeah. But who cares? Like, we didn't understand it. We still had a ball. Lena always says something that's really, that I like. You always say that it's, that you make your own fun. Everything is fun if you want to make it fun.
Yeah, and anything could be boring if you want to make it boring.
Yeah.
So...
Well said. Next day, then we went back to the boat.
Yes.
Cool to sleep on a boat.
Yeah. Woke up in an orange room, very energizing. Felt like a vitamin C pill.
Yeah. Fishermen going past trying to peep through the windows.
I know,
looking
they
for
did, didn't they?
nude tourists,
Yeah, they did. They were like, oh, I'm just going to look over here.
I waved to a few of them.
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
Yeah, it's not what they wanted, I think.
We had breakfast on the boat because we were late. Expensive, not worth it. I'm being honest.
I mean, it was fine, but
You know,
you can get better.
If we're customers of everyone, we can be honest.
That's true.
Go anywhere else for breakfast, I'd say. We had better and cheaper breakfast in other hotels. Then we went, there's no coffee shops
I know.
in the 13th.
It's a serious lack of coffee shops.
But we did find a place called Bob's Cafe in a cinema.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a specialty coffee shop. They didn't do, she didn't do a cappuccino.
I know.
Yeah.
That was very surprising.
But they had coffee and it was needed after the singing and dancing from the night before. But this is where I broke away from Lena and our son Otis. And I did an interview with someone very interesting. Now, you haven't heard this yet.
No.
A Patreon member actually got in touch because I've been asking the Patreon members for tips and places that they've seen that are a little bit offbeat. And that's exactly what we found here. There's a book and map shop. So we haven't really talked about this at all.
No.
Okay.
Not much at all.
So if you go to 31 Rue de Tolbiac, there's it's called the Librairie Loeb La Roque, and they do maps and books, but antique. And you can't just waltz in there.
I was just going to ask, is it like...
You have to make an appointment, which can just be, I think you can do it on the website. I called up and said, can I come? I want to take some pictures and interview you. But if you're a customer, you can do the same exact thing. Although I feel if you're a customer, I feel like you'd kind of be expected to be a serious customer.
Okay, so you expected to know what you're talking about, or like you know what you want.
Or maybe be sort of leaning towards making a purchase. Because I don't...
It's not just for browsing.
No.
Can you even see it from the street?
No, it's like up on the second or the third floor.
Ah, okay.
I think it was partly to do with, in a map shop, if you just have customers coming and looking at maps all the time, and when they're expensive and
Trying
antique,
to figure out where they are. Like, where's the closest train station from here?
but also the maps can be very expensive, so it's a liability to have it on the street level.
Tell us about this place.
Well, I'm not going to tell you about it. I'm going to let Pierre, the owner, tell us all about it. And you're going to hear him talking about a very special map, and I'll talk about it at the end. What is it about maps for you that made you want to essentially devote your life to it?
Well, there are a lot of things. For me personally, I'm originally I was a graphic designer. So what I really like is the aesthetic view of the early maps, talking maps from the 16th till 18th century. They were very nice for a reason, because a lot of the areas we were selling not only maps of Paris, but we are selling also maps of Africa, and you can imagine the maps of Africa, the maps of Australia, they were empty on the inside. So actually the publishers, the artists at the time, they filled up the empty spaces with a lot of decorations, with a lot of cartouches. So in the early maps there's a lot of an artistic point of view. Another point what I like is I like to travel. And you can really travel on the map. So I mean, you can look at the place names. You can see the development of areas over certain periods of time. That's what collectors often find in maps. They like to collect maps of all parts of the world. And lately, we have discovered, like a lot of people, the pictorial maps, and those are the maps who have made in the last 100 years often, and they can put political maps, they can maps, and I'll show you an example of the invasion of the Russians, of the war team maps, and but also disease maps were made in the last 100 years. So
that's the one that you're talking about, the invasion of Russia. I glimpsed it before. That's where Russia is a big octopus or a squid
yes,
or something.
octopus. Russia shown as the octopus
with its tentacles surrounding the nearby countries. So by pictorial maps, you really mean.
Yeah, well, so the pictorial maps, you will see little illustrations of people and animals on maps. In the old sense, the map was filled just with place names.
Right.
So,
is there a piece here, and I suspect it's that big one over your shoulder, that you're kind of most excited about?
yes, that's I think surely the biggest one we have in house, and surely one of the most exciting map of Paris. It's the most famous map made from Paris in the 18th century, and I'm happy to show you the map specifically. What I would like to show you is how Mr. Turgot at the map by Turgot has all the buildings in a perspective, and that was really something amazing, and I think never surpassed by other map makers.
And so how it looks enormous. It's rolled up. It looks like it's got ornate wooden sort of like there's a lot going on just seeing it wrapped up. How big is it?
The size is
3 meters.
3 by 4 meters.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's 3 by 4 meters in total,
Right.
and actually it's what we say a wall map. And typically, wall maps existed all over the century, so people had not only maps in books, but also they had them on the wall.
Right.
And then they were pasted on canvas and with those wooden rollers, so you could hang them on the wall. So
But besides it being large and with this different kind of perspective, is it also like really unique? This piece? Are there many of them? Is it one of a kind?
Well, it's very special in the way how it was made, but actually the town of Paris used it as a gift, an official gift to kings, to important visitors, to show basically to show a picture of Paris. So. It's not very rare because, well, Paris was a big city, and obviously a lot of travelers came to Paris, and a lot of important travelers, and they went home with a nice gift.
Yeah.
They were not sent home with a map like this on the shoulders. The map usually you'll find in a book with different pages. A very nice binding with the coat of arms of the town of Paris in gold, so that would easily fit in the suitcase.
Mm-hmm. And this one is an example of when it's all in one big piece.
Yes, this is one big piece, which so somebody could hang on his wall.
Right.
So
If they have if they live in a big place.
Yes,
an
well,
office or two,
True.
it's well, that's one of the problems we have nowadays. People are living in smaller and smaller apartments, so. The market for wall maps is becoming smaller and smaller.
But may I ask what you're selling it for?
This one is 15,000 euros.
Okay, so in other words, when you unroll it to show me, I'll stand back and not touch.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I will keep you on that.
So this map, it's a first edition of Turgot's monumental joint view of Paris. I'm reading this now. Stretches over 10 feet. That's over 3 meters. And why it's so special is it's got this focus on Paris, but with perspective.
Right. Yeah.
So when you look at a normal map, it's just everything's squares basically.
So
but
you see it a little side on.
yeah, like I've got it up on the computer so you can see what I'm talking about. Like Notre Dame, it looks like 3D basically.
Yeah.
And the bridges too. You can see the side of the bridges, the top of the bridges, the side of the
That's
boats,
cool.
the building.
And this hadn't been done before this?
No, this was one of the first times they ever used perspective like that in maps. This is what this guy Turgot was famous for. Widely regarded as one of the most important city views of all time over the first 11 arrondissements. So this was before our time here.
The first
in the 13th.
11 arrondissements.
Yeah. So we had a good look at it, and I was like, "This is a moment.
Yeah.
It was chilling almost getting to see this privately in the room."
Were you sweating?
I was sweating because I didn't want to tread on it or something, and I stood back, and it was weird because it was so big, and I was like, "They're just getting this map out to show me. This is so cool." And I was thinking, if I do tread on it, we'll be broke forever. But I was like, also, this is a really cool moment, so I was filming it, and I got all these beautiful pictures of them unrolling this map and seeing Paris spread out on this 13th
It's so kind of them to do this.
Yeah, so that's a reminder, everybody, to check out the blog and everything. By the way, I got an email the other day. I've been listening for years. I just checked out your website for the first time. Guys!
What?
The EarfulTower.com is like the sister to this podcast.
There's a lot of work going into that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And there will be pictures of this place. Anyway, really cool. So if you're in the, business of buying a map or an old book, they also have like an old world globe.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I can imagine if you're lucky enough to be buying a beautiful place in Paris and want to furnish it like this. This is where you go for your cool interior.
He told me something.
Detail.
French people don't usually put maps on the wall. It's more likely to be foreigners.
Really?
French
Why?
don't do it. They do paintings.
Ah,
So it's often foreigners who buy this stuff.
I see.
One cool thing that he said were the globes of the François Mitterrand Bibliothèque. And
This is my favorite part of the
I
arrondissement.
came running to you, Lina, to say there's something we need to discover.
Yeah.
And he said to me that whenever he has visitors in town, he takes them to see these globes. And I struggled to picture it. He said enormous world globes inside a library that are all lit up. That's how he described it to us. So we went into this very
Intriguing.
modern, sort of beautiful library. All windows on the inside looking into this huge garden. That's what I thought that was a really nice touch.
It's like an inside fenced-in park.
But we weren't there for the books, we were there for the globes, and we walked all the way to the whole library across to get there. Turned the corner, there's this big curtain, lifted, sort of pulled the curtain out of the way. Didn't need to, but for dramatic entry. And there are these two globes it says they're 4 meters in diameter.
That
That's
is
like 12 and a half
massive.
feet. Semi-suspended from the ground, and one was a world globe from hundreds of years ago.
The 17th century.
Yeah.
And
half the countries weren't even there. Well, I mean,
no, it was really interesting. You saw
literally half of Australia
exactly.
was like sand.
Yeah, it was just like smudged.
Yeah, they had the west coast and then the east, sort of south Tasmania to New Zealand. Just
Yeah, they were like, it might be something there, but we don't really know yet. So I'm just going to put a huge horse there instead, or fish.
But the globes of Coronelli, also known as the globes of Mali. And one was terrestrial, that's that one. The other was celestial, so this light blue. I guess you'd call it celestial blue.
Would that be the sky?
Yeah.
With the stars?
Yeah.
Celestial.
Yeah, and formations and angels and cherubs and
we lots of different animals. I guess it's all the star signs and constellations. It was beautiful. That was my favorite one.
Yeah, well, the facts I got here, made by Vincenzo Coronelli, offered to Louis XIV at the end of the 17th century. But who cares about the facts? It's about the experience. When we saw them, we were gobsmacked.
Yeah, it's really spectacular. Way better than I thought.
Yeah.
But it's just the two of them, and it's just randomly in this library, and
they did it in
it feels
such a
like
nice
they should
way.
be in the Louvre.
Exactly. It's like they the way they were suspended and you can walk around them both, and the way it was they were lit up from below, and the walls were black all around it, so you felt like you're in space a little bit. No one was there because no one's heard about them.
Yeah,
we've told a lot of people about this since no one had any idea.
Totally alone.
I can't recommend it enough. Probably the best thing we saw in the 13th. I'd say. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That, and I loved to walk along the Seine. I think that's really great. And Butte Aux Cailles is nice too, but I think if you want that sort of atmosphere, you go to Montmartre.
I would trade Butte Aux Cailles for the Globes any day.
Okay.
If someone was asking me what to do in the 13th, go to
You
the
say
Globes.
Globes.
On that note, why don't we give some scores for this district?
Let's do it.
I have to ask your feeling before we get into it. Do you think it's going to perform well overall?
I feel it might struggle. Yeah, it might struggle on some points, but, you know, the Globes, it can't make up for everything, can it?
If you're new around here, I'm amazed that you're starting with the 13th arrondissement. If you're new. But
Lucky number 13.
I'm going to predict now that this will be the least listened to podcast. So if you're listening this far, thank you very much. That means you're either a resident of the 13th or a fan of this show, and to you, we say thank you. Let's get through it.
All right.
As usual, if our scores differ wildly, we'll discuss it. If not, we'll just get into it. If not, we'll move straight on. Strollability, out of 10.
You start.
2.
3.
Yeah, fair enough. Affordability,
7.
9.
9?
I don't remember anything.
You felt like going all extreme here.
I don't think anything was expensive.
Yeah.
The library was free to get into.
Okay.
Butte Aux Cailles was
That's
free.
true.
The hotel
But
was...
it was free.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, there's not expensive...
guess.
The
I
drink...
guess
the,
there's not much to do.
the boat drinks that we had were really
Very cheap.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, but 7, 9, same thing.
Okay.
Shareability.
4.
Me too.
The Globes.
Yeah, the Globes. And Butte Aux Cailles.
Tourist ability.
Yeah,
4.
me too.
Real.
Perfect. Accessibility.
3.
3.
No.
It's not very accessible.
No, it's far out. It's huge. It's not, you know, you have nice little small areas, but very long in between, or
Yep.
far in between them.
What are your scores total?
21.
22 for me. That puts us to 43, which I think...
This is a tie with another maybe not so touristy.
15.
With a 15.
43
yeah.
out of 100. That's a fail.
Ugh.
I can predict the scores are going to start skyrocketing a little bit.
I know.
Except in those inner districts, they will score poorly on affordability because that's really expensive. Isn't it? But next time on the Earful Tower, the 12th arrondissement, a fancy restaurant with golden ceiling,
I'm intrigued.
a hotel with a gimmicky theme.
And cocktails without trousers.
This
okay.
is the Earful Tower podcast. You're listening to the Paris Countdown. My name is Oliver G.
And I am Lina.
Thanks to everybody who's making this possible. Let's have a little bit of Press Maxon in the background. Thanks to
do
Press
it.
Maxon. Thanks to Julian for babysitting, Eddie for editing, Charlotte for her additional help and reporting.
Thanks
and
to you.
research. Thanks to you.
Thanks to us.
And
And
to-
thanks to you.
And to Emily Jackson for taking the photographs.
For sure.
That'll do it for us. See you next week. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Bye.